Hello, everyone, and welcome to Flawless, a music podcast. My name is Grant, and I'm joined by my two co-hosts, George.
Well, hello there.
And Liam.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show.
Now, each episode, one of the hosts or a guest nominates an album that they think is flawless, and we talk about why they love it and what they love about it. And in the end, we decide if we agree whether it's flawless or not. We have a Facebook group. It's called Flawless Family and Friends. What a lovely alliteration. And we'd love for you to join us and tell us what you think about your favorite albums and your favorite episodes of Flawless. You can find us at facebook.com/ is all the rest of it. They're in the notes.
Yeah, links in the show notes. That's all good.
The links in the show notes.
I'm going to have to edit the intro just to... links in the show notes.
That's fine. And we also have a Patreon, guys. You can back us from as little as $1 a month. And no matter how much you back us for, you will get access to our special bonus eps. You can find us at patreon.com/flawlessamp. Now, as I'm doing the introduction, this of course means that either I brought a guest who's going to add some value, or, and that's not the case, or I get to nominate what I propose is a flawless album. And today, I am nominating the second album of a group called Offspring. The album is Ignition. Mic drop.
Mic drop.
Yeah, there you did.
Yes, I did. 37 minutes and 23 seconds of punk.
Pure punk.
Pure punk.
Pure skate
37
punk.
minutes, 12 tracks. Done.
Done. In and out.
In and out.
No messing around, no fussing around.
No, this is, of course, the precursor to, I would suggest, what was their massive breakout album, Smash,
Yep.
Forgive Me, which came out 2 years later. And I absolutely love it. And this was a real journey of discovery to get this back in the mid-90s, whereby we worked in CDs and none of this. I'll just look at a back catalogue on my Spotify or Apple account. So let's start with George.
Did you
Start with you, Grant.
How did you
if
find-
it was a
How
journey,
did
tell
I
us about
find
your
it?
journey.
So it would have been late 1994, I believe, on the back of Smash. And as a young man in Africa, was very intrigued by what could possibly have come before Smash, and how did these guys, whilst that was an awesome album, what was before? And from memory, and that's now we're talking a long time ago, there was I had a surfing magazine, and I'll stand to be corrected, there was Pennywise and Henry Rollins Band and Offspring, and it was Ignition. And I was like, what is this?
I want that CD.
Yeah, what
Nice.
is this?
That's a good CD.
Ignition. you
Yeah.
know?
Exactly.
And all these guys that are going mainstream is, getting that Smash album. No. That's not the way I want to play it. I want to know. I want the one that was before that, because
such
no
a
doubt it's good.
hipster.
I thought I was back then. So I don't know how a gentleman by the name of Scott Gilbert and I sourced the CDs, but we bought 2 CDs, and I think that someone was going over to America, literally, and we were like, oh, can you find it? Or we ordered it. I don't even think we could have ordered it online. So somehow we got these 2 CDs, and so we're at boarding school. We are 16, 17 years old, and heard nothing. This is, no sound, nothing. We're just buying the album, just done. Put it in, and the opening track starts. And are we PG on this?
No, go knock
Oh,
yourself
no,
out.
go knock yourself out.
I will,
Can we do it together?
Yeah, we
Step
can.
away
So
lean back from the mics for us.
So let's lean back from the mic. So the opening track, 16 years old. We've been waiting months for this, and it starts with fuck, and then the drums start. And George said the best time ever.
I needed that.
Yeah, well, look, I was sorry, Mom, if you listened. And I think further to the drive to get this, I did try and research it, but I would place money on it that session was actually on a surf movie or surf clip at the time, and I was like, wow, that's a great track as well. I didn't manage to locate it in my research online, and you know exactly what you're in for. And so it goes. So yes.
you bought Ignition having heard Smash, or
I
just
think
after
so.
Smash? Okay.
I think
Must have heard Self-Esteem and gone, I'm going to buy Ignition or whatever.
no, I think first was Come Out and Play.
Yeah.
But if I can talk about Smash first, I do recall when my friend bought it, and that was at the end of '94. I bought the Sisters of Mercy, A Slight Case of Overbombing, which is their best of, and maybe we'll talk about one of those albums or one of their proper albums before. And he bought Smash, and he listened to it, and he was staying at our holiday home at a place called Claremont, and he lived across the river, and the river broke through at like 9-10 o'clock at night, and he walked from our house and was walking along. His name is Ross Clayton. Ross, I hope you're listening to this one. So he was walking along the beach, literally on his own, middle of the night, and fell into this river that had broken through that was going out to sea with his disc, So he's wallowing around. It was only knee deep water, so he didn't get into, didn't get washed out or anything. But he gets home, the next night, and this all the water's gone through, and salt water through the cover and all the rest of it. And so I'm almost positive that it was beginning of '95 that, having heard it over the January period, I was like, no, these are, and I've seen them in the magazine then, Offspring, earlier album, let's get this. And that's how it happened.
I only ask because you and everybody else, because Ignition was so came out in '92.
Yes.
It was certified gold on January 22nd, 1996, 2 years after Smash came out. So you and the rest of the world, so the Ignition came out, and they were touring. They were basically doing loops of Southern California. But they couldn't get any traction outside of Southern California, even with Ignition. Just doing loops and loops and loops, just touring like crazy, as, lots of great bands have done their time.
Yeah.
And then Self-Esteem and Keep 'Em Separated come out.
Yeah.
Come on and play.
Keep It Separated.
I knew there was that come in there.
That's right. Yeah.
And now you're worldwide smashers, and everyone else went, this is awesome, but these guys, this isn't a debut. These guys got 2 more albums. Let's go back and find all their other stuff.
Yep.
So yeah.
Isn't it weird, eh?
Kudos to, like 2 years after their breakthrough album.
2 years, I wrote that down. Certified gold in January 22nd, 1996, 2 years later.
Nice.
And so a few more people did what I did
Yep.
back then. And it was ranked second in Guitar World Magazine's top 10 of
2000.
No, so
No,
it came out in
1992.
2000. Yeah, best albums of 1992.
92.
Of
Correct.
1992, yeah.
And number 1 was Alice in Chains Dirt.
Because I saw that, and there was one reference I saw to that where it was like, it was ranked number 2 in their best albums.
Yeah.
And I was like, of all time?
I know. I thought
that's a lot.
I saw that.
Really
it's a big call.
That's a big call.
Like, I'm not. It's good, but is it really?
And then I saw another. I was like, best album. Oh, okay, of 1992. That makes much more sense.
That did make much more sense for sure. So yes, did not chart originally, and then again, over 1 million copies sold now, and no videos.
No. Kick Him When He's Down was sent to the radios on I assume like just a disc, and that was 6-inch, and that was it.
And they just kept working.
And everything else was just touring and selling t-shirts and selling 6 inches at shows.
And he sounds dejected
Yeah.
in quite a lot of the tracks, to be fair, as well. In Ignition, it's just like, come on, put out a record, and we're slugging the guts out, and he's just like pretty dejected in most of the tracks. And you're like, but he carries that theme on even when they become big, but on behalf of the underdogs. Like Dexter writes lyrics on behalf of underdogs, and has continued to do that, which is like at first it was like my life kind of sucked, and then it was like, oh shit, my life is good now, but other people's lives suck.
And I remember what it's like to have a life that sucks.
Yeah, exactly. And I can use my platform now to say your life sucks. I'm sorry. Yeah, cool.
So I've never seen them, and I had tickets.
Okay. Oh, I had tickets.
I had tickets.
What?
Last year, and the concert was cancelled.
No.
No, I swear to goodness.
Oh,
Because it didn't get
So in fact, I
postponed.
still have tickets. They haven't been cancelled. So
Okay.
one day
when they come out.
yeah, Dexter Noodles, that I'll Ron and Greg, I'll see you guys live because I don't believe they've been refunded, and certainly they were supposed to tour last year, and
I don't think Ron and Greg are still in the band.
oh, they're not gone.
Ron on drums, I'm sure, is not. Greg
Yeah, he left
may
a while
not
ago.
be.
Oh, okay.
I think Greg might have even only left like relatively in the last few years, but yeah.
Well,
You'll see Dexter and Noodle. That's
fine.
their
that's
last
the main
album
That's
one.
was
okay.
2012.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, and I think certainly I didn't didn't really follow it up post Smash. There was Americana and
Ixnay on the
Ixnay
Hombre.
on the
Hombre, and
Yep.
I think Pretty Fly for a White Guy was probably, I thought, like
You
you've
drew
gone
the line.
to
That's when you drew a
like,
line, yeah.
You sort of, I appreciate a bit of fun play music, but this is not, how do you get from of Ignition to
Yeah.
Pretty Fly?
But
It's one of
Pretty
those
Fly
things.
is an outlier
Sure.
Yeah.
in their
Yes.
back catalogue. It's a weird one.
Yeah.
Because Americana is an excellent album. But Pretty Fly is an outlier, which is why I could never have nominated that as a flawless. Because no one could enjoy Pretty Fly for a White Guy genuinely.
So it was an outlier until on Conspiracy of One, where they had Serial Prankster,
Oh,
which was
shit,
basically
I forgot
like
about
the
that one.
shitty version of
Pretty Fly.
Pretty Fly for a White Guy.
Yeah, I
but
feel
yeah,
that
it
one.
was an outlier in terms of like they normally make quite quote unquote serious punky songs
Yeah.
with serious themes, and that was
Yeah.
sort of it's one of those things, and it happens. It happened to Powderfinger for my money as well, is that they get their breakthrough song that makes them even bigger famous is like their worst song.
Yeah.
But it just they hit on something, and then a record label grabs it and they turn it into a phenomenon, and it just
Just runs.
if I mean for them it's like, oh, okay, if this song blowing up means people will come and listen to us play our serious songs and our punky songs as well, then what the fuck?
Yeah.
Why not?
Correct.
Fair enough.
So, Liam,
Yes,
have you seen them live?
I haven't
Come on.
I haven't seen them live.
Haven't?
And
Interesting.
have you heard this album before?
I hadn't heard this album before, so yeah.
Okay.
I knew Smash, I knew Come Out and Play and
Yes.
Self-Esteem. I like every party, and I didn't go to a lot of parties in high school because I was getting bullied and no one invited me to parties. But the ones I did get invited to,
Honey.
Oh, fuck. What a
fine.
declaration.
that was like 20 years ago. It's fine. Whatever I did get invited to,
that would be
inevitably this album, a Smash, or just those two songs would
Yes.
make an appearance. So of course
Had
I knew
to.
who they were,
Yeah.
and then knew when Pretty Fly for a White Guy blew up. That was right when I was coming into my Triple J time.
Yes.
A friend of mine who still a friend of mine who I worked with at the time was really big into them, so he would lend me like Ixnay on the Hombre and Americana, and we'd trade tracks and listen to them a bit like that. But then I've never really, so it's not that I haven't been able to see them live, it's not that it's not something that I've really sought out. I haven't been that excited about to go and try and see them.
And yourself, George?
Have I seen them live or heard the album?
Let's go with both, but start with, have you seen them live?
At least twice.
Oh,
Right.
So first time was at Brixton Academy in London on January 15th, 99 on the Americana tour. So they played and they finished, I believe, on Self-Esteem. So I was
Nice.
so happy.
Yeah.
So that was
course.
awesome. And then that same year, 6 months later, they played Reading Festival in 1999. And in an episode that maybe aired before or after this, I also saw another band at that festival who
Well,
played.
very
who played,
eloquently put.
they played in a tiny tent, whereas Offspring were already really big and were playing in the main stage. So yes, I've definitely seen them then. And then I think I've seen them, but I've caught them at other festivals, but they've always been on the big stage. I've never been down the front since that. 99, I was right up down the front because I was all over that shit. So yeah, but after that, I was in the background appreciating it from afar, like an older person. When I'm 21. But
So mature.
But I've not bought tickets to see them at a gig since 99. So I've not seen them in a venue since then. But have I heard the album before? Well, let me tell you.
Oh, please I want to be told.
Let me tell you that Ixnay on the Hombre came out when I was 12, and me and my friend Danny Manning, if you're listening, were very into that album because it had Gone Away and Meaning of Life, and so we were like, let's go back one and let's get Smash. And then I was like, Come Out and Play was fun, but then it was Self-Esteem and Nitro, and I was like, I'm all over this.
Yeah.
Like, so, yeah.
Sure.
And then it was like, oh, Americana's coming out in 98. So what we did was we went, and by this point, their first album, The Offspring, self-titled, and then second album, Ignition, that we're talking about, were like in the £7 section.
Yeah, they'd have been there. Yeah.
They're in the dregs section of the CD store. Because by
Sacrilege.
by the point Americana came out, like we're talking, it's 6 years since Ignition had come out. So in preparation of Americana coming out, we made sure that we had all of the previous albums, and we had a listen party of their back catalogue in order, and then played Americana at the very end, like after we did it.
Prep work.
So we had a whole day of it where we just sat around drinking. Like, how old was I? 13 when Americana came out. So we were all drinking shit beer, and we listened to and spent the day listening to The Offspring, Ignition, Smash, Ixnay. Then that's when we were allowed to put Americana on and listen to that. We bought it that morning and put it on. Nice. So
wow.
So we had like a whole
what
listening
a tale.
party. Yeah, it was really cool.
That's really cool.
Thank you, Danny Manning. So I still go to Zoom nightclubs for people back in the UK who are still under lockdown for COVID, and they play The Kids Aren't All Right from Americana like all the time, which is also good. Or they play Self-Esteem, which is like one of my favourite songs like ever. So which is good. So I've heard the album and I've seen them live, and I know of The Offspring. And do you know how Noodles got his name?
No.
From noodling on the guitar.
As simple as that.
Yeah.
Literally.
Is it playing?
He used to just piddle around, and they were like, you're noodling, so he got noodles. Yeah, there you go. So, and do you know Dexter's real name?
No.
It's not Dexter. It's Brian.
Oh, no.
He's called Brian Holland, but he changed his name to Dexter to be in The Offspring, which I think was a pretty good move.
Yeah, I think you could still be Brian. Like if you're like punk's supposed to be, you can be whoever you want to be. You could just be. You could.
I know, but you'd never want to be a Brian. Sorry, Sorry, listeners called Brian, but like if you could be a Dexter or a Brian, you'd go for Brian. It's like in Everclear, would you be Arthur or Alexis, or would you be Art Alexis? You go for Art. Sounds cool.
Sounds very manufactured to me.
Yeah.
So
I think so.
Grant, you got the album.
Yes.
Put it on. Did it blow you away right from the start? Straight.
Done.
You were just like, yep, I'm
Just
all in
done.
on this.
And well, I mean, obviously, what an opening track, and it's the intentions are clear, and I don't think they really change throughout the themes. You know.
Do you know who wrote Session?
There was, I didn't write them down, all written by Dexter, unless otherwise stated, and I did see that, and I neglected to write that one.
So this one was co-written by Dexter, Jill Eckhouse, and Christine Luna. So Christine Luna was his wife at the time.
Yeah.
And Jill Eckhouse has precisely 2 writing credits on Discogs, this song and Come Out and Play. Wow. And there is literally no other record online that I can find of who Jill Eckhouse is, but she co-wrote this song and Come Out and Play with them.
Well, that was a pretty good one.
Good work, Jill.
Yeah.
Whoever you are.
Thank you, Jill.
You are out
Whoever
there.
and wherever you are. Thank you, because you gave a lot. So yeah, it took me straight away. And it's, as I say, some pretty heavy themes throughout that, whilst they might have a real punk, drums to them and riffs, etc., stuff like LAPD, which was on the back of Police Brutality in the 1991, I think. So this was released in 92. I think it was 1991. You almost go like 20 or 30 years later. What's changed?
Yeah,
it was still there.
What was the gentleman's name? Larry.
Come on. Rodney King.
Rodney King. I want to say Larry.
Larry King. Yeah.
Rodney. Yeah, Rodney King. And that I mean that was obviously all for those listeners that are too young. In essence, a cops laid into a guy, and it was all caught on film, and I think in the end they got off as well.
Yeah,
which
so
is
the LA riots it was all filmed. And then they all went to court, and the cops said no, it was self-defense. So there was 4 of them standing around him, beating him with nightsticks while he's lying on the ground. And then the cops go, it was self-defense, and the jury goes, yep, that sounds good. and LA explodes into riots because, of course, that is no good.
Absolutely
and that's why
horrendous.
they have the lyrics.
Yes.
And even the words police brutality is just social pollution, which is like a really like powerful statement.
Yeah.
Like and something that you wouldn't do now is he uses the N-word.
He does.
Which you wouldn't do now, but at the time was relevant and people did. And he was using it in
His heart was used. And then he,
Yeah. Like he's
he
not
used it-
like he's very playing them in the moment that he says it out loud. Like it's the intent is very, very clear.
He's using his platform to say this shouldn't be happening
Yeah.
and to this group of people. But it was just like, but it's of its time, so I can't mark him down for that.
Because I even
and
was
they
like,
beat all the white trash as well.
yes, because that
Yeah,
was the
exactly.
first time I'd heard that. And I looked at it, I was like, oh my god, they said that. I was like, how has that not been a bigger thing? How have they not been cancelled?
Yeah.
And so I googled. I was like, oh, I'm going to Google and find Offspring controversy. Dug up all the. It's like no one has.
Yeah.
People have just accepted it. Yep, he was playing the role in the song. He was doing the bit in the song. It doesn't really seem like anyone's that. Obviously there are more important fights to fight around that word, let alone the whole issue altogether.
Correct.
And it's
But
it's
LAPD is such a good song.
It is.
Yeah,
like,
it's great.
Bassy drummy build up for like the first 30 seconds, and then it's just like rock riff just comes straight in and hits you. It's awesome. And he shouts. This is the first time he's really, or the only time he's very quick in his vocals. Like he's usually a lot more. He's slower, drawn out, and this, that, and the other. And he's got something to say. But here, he's got so much to say, and he's trying to fit it in.
In 2:45.
Yeah, exactly. Bloody
So-
hell. And he powers through in a way that nu metal ended up doing 10 years later, but he powers through in this really aggressive, powerful way, but you know that it's come from his genuine feelings.
Oh.
Like, he had so much to say that he was like, shoot, I'm going to double down on how I,
No,
how
he
I get
does.
this out.
Yeah.
Law and order doesn't really matter when you're the one being bruised and battered. Mm-hmm. And he's like, just rips through it.
Yeah.
All the through the whole song. So
Absolutely. It's got a heart on
but
it.
yeah.
That's one of my,
That's
one of my rules.
That idea that you mentioned of like it being timeless. Like, guess what? They didn't fix it.
No, it's
Rodney
not
King
true.
didn't fix it. Punk music didn't fix it. Like it's if anything worse or at least as bad today as it was back then.
it could almost be a case, and we're not politicians here, but that it's we're just more exposed to it now. Like there wasn't the cameras to record the things that all the shit that was going
Even
on
with the
then.
cameras now, it's not.
And now
it's still not making
helping.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it still does. And what's actually changed in 30?
But that was the thing. It was like
Yes.
in the past, it was always like even before the Rodney King thing was always like, well, the cops said it was self-defense, so it must have been because no one saw it. No one didn't.
And there you go.
And now it's like, well, but now we've got footage. Like, well, the footage doesn't help because if the cop says something and
That's
the
it.
jury just says, yep, that's fine. And now we've got videos on the cops doing the thing as they do it, and it still doesn't help. Like it's just like I don't know what it takes.
Yeah, correct. What does it take?
And so bring it up in 92, and now we're talking about it
Yeah,
in the 2000. Like, where are we?
21 years, 20 years later.
2021, man.
30
Oh,
odd years
Christ.
later.
But yeah.
How
Sorry,
much has
30
changed?
years later. Yeah, my maths went all weird.
30,
there.
but
30 years
32
later.
years later, and we still, or how much? The question is, how much have we progressed, if at all,
Yeah.
or have we regressed? And wow, we got deep on an album.
We did.
That's just like boom down into
quick.
LAPD.
We followed Dexter down into that hole.
Yeah. Any tracks from your side, Liam, that stood out for you?
I love Dirty Magic.
Yeah.
So it's
Good intro, hey?
bit of that intro.
That
Just
reverby sound.
a bit more variety in the instrumentation. So it's like almost new wavy style
I
music.
wrote 80s new wave.
Yeah, so cool. Just because the first 5 songs are quite straightforward. Like it's just really that one style, that fast style. Whereas this one, they just take that foot off the accelerator a little bit, play around with the style. But then so the singing about all the songs are so personal for him, which I really like. Yeah, so it feels like it's about drugs and it's about razor blades and self harm and that sort of stuff. And there's a lot of songs on the album that are like that as well, which are really like. It's just. Yeah, and then so it's the new wavy bit, but then it still punches into that hard, fast, riffy stuff on the chorus, and then pulls back to the new wavy bit, and like there's just that oscillation between them works really well. So yeah, I really like Dirty Magic.
That's a good one. Yeah, for sure.
And yourself, George?
Oh, well, I've got a few hearts.
Oh, talk to me about some hearts, please.
Talk about some hearts.
Tell me.
We are one.
Yeah. Longest track, was it? 4
Longest
minutes.
song, yeah, which is After Session, which is the shortest song.
Which is just about the shortest. Yeah, is
so
the shortest.
I just wrote drums, wailing guitar, leading intro of 30 seconds, and then full pelt. It's sing along at clubs. This is a sing along song at clubs for sure. And so I had sung "We Are One, We Are Free," so that many times. So, but in this one, it's not just like verse, chorus, bridge, verse, chorus, like, the end. It's like verse, chorus. I'm gonna have a break now where it's just going to be the instruments for a while.
Yeah.
And it's like, cool. Okay, I'm gonna listen to the
Bit of
instruments.
variety.
Yeah, and then he comes back in with the vocals, which I really like. And there's just this solo, but it's like simple. It's not a wanky solo.
Which most of them are. Like, it's because it's so fast. Like, it's almost like if it's a big wanky solo, you need everything to stop and slow down so I can show off what I'm doing. But this time it's just, no, we've got no time for that. Do it. Do whatever you're going to do. You've got like 10 seconds, Noodles. Hurry up.
Hit it.
Yep. Few notes over all of the mayhem. So, but it's just a really nice, I really enjoy that song, and I really enjoy the way he sings. And bigger they come, harder they fall.
Yeah.
That's super cool. I love that little introducing one vocal line just for the outro of a song. There's a few songs that, and various artists do it. It's you go verse, chorus, you construct the song and then you bring in the phrase that you could have lent on that phrase all the way through the song. It could have just been repeated and a mantra all the way through, but you're like, no, this is the point where you do fist pump and sing along. It's like, bigger they come, harder they fall. And they're really cool.
And it fades out. Like a lot of punk songs just go dun dun dun.
Yeah.
And it's finished next. But there's actually a fade out as he's singing, bigger they come, harder they fall, which is welcomed actually, because then it moves us into kick him when he's down, where you've got that
difficult to
heavy
misinterpret
drum.
those lyrics.
Yeah, right? He is dejected. This whole album is him being dejected. He wants more for himself, but more importantly, he wants more for the people around him. So if you think about Hypodermic, that's all about him being so upset at other people using drugs to get away from things.
No hero. Jeez.
And no hero. Yeah, people that
Heavy.
turn to self-harm and trigger warning, suicidal thing, etc. People that do that he's so upset that he wasn't able to stop these things from happening. He just wants a happier life for himself and others. And that's his theme, going on until Pretty Fly. I think that was his theme in most of his songs.
We're hanging a lot on that show.
Yeah, so on No Hero, he's angry at his friend for doing it.
Yeah.
He's angry at himself for not helping his friend.
Yeah.
He's angry at people for thinking that he should have done something to help.
Can't win, really.
And then he's angry at himself for being angry at his friend. So you start leveling it up and you start layering it up, and eventually you're just caught in this thing of it doesn't matter what, mentally I'm okay with this part. It doesn't matter because there's still 4 other things that are making me angry. Yeah. And I'm angry about being angry. So it's all just,
And he has these lyrics because it's in the past tense. Just him going, well, this has happened, but I have to put on a brave face now.
Yeah.
But he is emotional. This guy is empathetic to the nth degree.
He says, I can hear her. I'm just trying to survive myself. Oh, jeez.
Right?
Fuck.
Yeah. It's hardcore. So I also really enjoy
all in 3 minutes 22. Sorry, mind you,
yeah. It's all, and it's fast, and it's just riffs, and it's So because the theme of that of he has to just be, he has to just get
himself.
Ties into Take It Like a Man.
Literally gonna go there.
Yeah. Which is just
toxic masculinity.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a lot of stuff through here that talks about men's mental health and toxic masculinity, but 30 years ago. where they didn't have the language that where we can go now. Oh, it's about toxic masculinity. And if he was singing this stuff now, he'd be saying that, this is toxic masculinity. I'm a man. I'm expected to do this. Whereas he just didn't have the language, but you listen to it and it's the same stuff that we're going through now, that men go through now, is like the expectations of society to be a certain way and perform a certain role.
Mm-hmm. And he also talks about being on the edge, not in the mainstream, because you get beaten down for not being in the mainstream. Yeah. So he sings that everyone knows you've got to fit into the mainstream to save your woes, as if it's your fault. Mm-hmm. It's your fault for being different. It's your fault for not fitting into this toxic kind of culture, and that's why you're going to get beaten down. Yeah. And that's just...
Fit in or... Mm-hmm.
And to bring that in under 3 minutes, to take it away, I think he gave a lot of power to a lot of young men listening to this album. Would have gone, yeah, that's true. This is that. It is that kind of way it is. But I'm not going to change who I am. I'm going to keep being that kind of guy. Because he's this emotional guy, or he's on the fringes of society and all that kind of stuff, and he's still power through, but it's going to be hard.
Yeah. So if you sit down and you do a deep dive on it, you'll find a lot of themes. If you're listening carefully, you'll connect to stuff like young men like him. You'll connect to it. But if you're at a skate park and you just want to put something cool on the stereo that rocks and you can just go up and down to it, you can do that as well. Yeah. It's just two completely different roles. You don't have to pay attention to it and get involved into it. You can just put it on in the background as fast rock and be skating or doing whatever to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a balance that is...
And isn't it interesting that he wrote these lyrics and then, they get so huge through Smash, and the same clowns that would have given them shit would now be buying their albums and singing along to Self-Esteem and Keep Them Separated, etc. And yeah...
But that's Self-Esteem is a similar style song that, thinking about, self-deprecating and self-anger and angst.
Well,
and
that's
then
the same with Session. It's basically the same thing.
Yeah, it's basically very same. I was when I was listening, didn't he already do a song about this? Oh, that's next.
This is before then. Yeah, that's right. And I in fact, I think in our shared drive of albums, I think I put Smash in as the one that I would have nominated, and I spent a long time going, I think I've got to go with Ignition. So
I did say to myself when you nominated this, I was just like, why the fuck didn't you nominate Smash? I was like, why?
I don't know if I don't think it's as good.
But I know what you mean. But when I was actually deep diving into this album, I was just like, I get it.
I listened to both actually in prep, and I was like, I like. There's some songs that just are not on it, and the hits are bigger, sure. I mean, of course. Yeah. But
but I did listen when so we had this album, and then I was just like, okay, I'm gonna go and listen back to all my favorite albums of theirs, and then I'm gonna listen to it again and do my research, and then I'm gonna listen back. And so I ended up listening to 4 of their records, their first 4 records, in a row, and then going back to it again.
So I was going to ask Grant earlier, have you stuck with them buying all the albums as they go through?
No, I again, this is when I still had cash at school.
Yeah.
So I would have borrowed probably Smash, bought Ignition, and just heard the radio ones as and when they came, and if it was on in someone's room at university.
Yep.
No. Yeah.
Because I think I had copies of everything up including Americana. And
I think
my brother. In fact, that's what my brother bought 1 or 2 posts. Okay. I think my brother got Extend Hombre. Was that the next one?
After Smash.
Yeah. I think my brother got that one.
Yeah,
so I didn't need to.
I used to go to rock clubs, and so all the hits from all the albums were on the rock clubs. So I've danced sweatily to quite a lot of these songs, and I still am. So there you go. It's all good fun.
Any other ones, George or Liam, you want to talk specifically to? I'm very keen to try and nail this at the same length of the album as a review.
I think you might miss that because that's 4 minutes time.
Oh, yeah.
That's fine.
I like to get it right. Bit of a Catcher in the Rye reference. Came out of nowhere. I was not expecting that. I was like, a literary reference. Yes. My, this punk music is very scholarly all of a sudden. Yeah.
What is comparing yourself to Holden Caulfield? Yeah. I know, because I like the lyrics.
Look at the delivery like this.
Did you write the
Lyric
same
buddy,
lyric?
exactly.
With the foot up,
Yeah.
mind you,
Yeah, I put the foot
on the
up.
stage.
Sorry, I'm
It's
in a
wonderful.
stance. I'm in a
Thank you.
stance.
And then when they're chanting "No Way Out" at the end, so you've got the literary reference, and then you can just have a nice big mosh and a fist pump screaming "No Way Out," which is like a very sort of quite traditional punk phase, and you know.
Yeah, I'm a
Also,
paro.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, you are.
So the bass on that one.
Oh, sorry, that was burning up.
Mr. Greg.
Yeah.
Mr. Greg K, the bass on that one, running all over the fucking fretboard on that, on Get It Right, and I am on board with that because I love a sexy bass, but I also love somebody who does complex and interesting
you like
stuff.
the bass.
I do like the
You
bass,
like
well,
the bass.
because I'm bass
Unapologetic.
it's one of my instruments, so I have to like listen to it. But but at the same time, at the beginning of the track of Get It Right, there's that big guitar strum, but then there's a
Yeah,
pick
the huge
slide.
chord. Oh, nice.
Pick slide, sexy pick slide. You're like, and you know that they do that live, and it's just going to be sexy and awesome.
Please,
And
can
it's
you guys
like-
tour this year?
It's 4-chord power punk, right? They know what they're doing, and
Yeah.
they. It's not like they have a box, but it's kind of like they're like, this is what we sound like, but these are our songs, and we have a message, but we're also pretty fucking competent.
Yeah, very competent musicians.
Yeah. This
Musos.
is what we do. So, like, we do 4-chord power punk, not 3-chord power punk for a start. And we
Have you tried to play Self-Esteem ever?
I think I tried many years ago
I've looked at
when
it.
I was
Oh,
good.
man.
But yeah, so that's really nice. So I really like it when there's that kind of, when they have that running bass and really interesting guitar parts. So yes, but I'm sorry that we're going to
I'm absolutely fine with
the
it.
thing.
I'm glad that we've... I didn't declare it up front, so it doesn't matter.
So the last two tracks,
Mm-hmm.
which are
Nothing from something.
Nothing from something. Yeah, which is just immediately you're like,
Huh?
honey, you want a hug?
Oh.
Because and he says, yeah, because no matter what I say, I'm in another fight. Like it's like he can't win. This dude is failing at everything. Like it's got rock and roll intro, then it jumps in, but the vocal melody is actually really nice. It's not just like shout, shout, shout. There's like he shouts in a melody, so it's something interesting to listen to. And again, has those long instrumental parts in between the chorus and verses, which is really cool. And the guitar then at this point does fret runs as well. It's just like doing some fun stuff. But then it has a quiet breakdown into the guitar solo for Noodles. And this one's more of an actual guitar solo than the pared back one from earlier. This is a bit more stuff going on, and yeah, it's just a good song.
I think we talked about it in the Pearl Jam album with these ideas of these guys who in their early teens listened to cock rock in the 80s, and I reckon Noodle's another one of them. He's transformed it into the punk one.
Yes.
But he's still you feel like, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to do my big wailing, and I wish there was big pyro and stuff going off behind me.
Kiss style.
But also my band style is really fast, and so that was one where he was able to squeeze in like a bit more traditional guitar solo. But even when he does it, it's like, I feel like he would have grown up in that same sort of time coming through. With,
Absolutely.
Who did we talk about with the Pearl Jam album?
I have no memory of anything.
So everyone, I'm sure, is at the moment yelling at us on the thing. But
Yeah.
the big guitar dude in Pearl Jam.
Oh, who?
So-
Stone Gossard.
That's who. Yes, that's who we were talking about. Sorry, that's who I was talking about.
Oh, geez, Stone.
Like-
I thought
I
you
thought
meant
you meant that was influenced. That
No,
Pearl Jam were
So,
influenced.
no.
by-
So
Stone and Jeff.
coming through in that same
Jeff and
time.
Stone Gossard.
Yeah,
Stone's
yeah.
the lead. Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, I love Forever and a Day. Just timeless. Just
Yeah.
another
Oh,
general
yes.
protest
That's what I
song.
like.
Punk as fuck.
Really cool.
Protest song. It's true.
Yeah, but
Activists, man.
he talks about not wanting misinformation. Like I'm sitting here the day after Facebook banned after all news websites in Australia, and I'm like, holy shit, these guys 30 years ago were like, if what you're saying isn't true, I don't want to hear it. It's
Absolutely.
so cool.
And it's got that awesome lyric in it too.
Yeah. And how many times have we wanted to say say that to someone on Facebook and Twitter?
Yeah, exactly. And I wish I had the internet properly when I was listening to this, like back in the day, and I could have written that down and go, I'm sorry, but I'm trying to have an open mind, but your brain and mouth are just not connected. That's going to be my new thing.
Yeah.
But that's also got like that nice simple fade out, but it's that final song about him just not knowing life, not knowing a person, not knowing himself.
Yeah.
It's like we've not got this like ending where he's saying, "Oh, I've reconciled everything now."
No.
It's like now
It's just the same.
the theme is still there, but
Still there.
we're punk as fuck, by the way.
Yeah.
So it's a really good. I think that's a really good closing song, and it's only 2 minutes 37. But every band member is bringing it. And there's power drumming and guitar and bass.
Is that the one that fades out but also stops? One of their songs on this album, and it may not be the last one, has a fade out. But then if you listen to the fade out, they just stop playing their instruments anyway. So it's like it's like you've done both endings. It's like a fade out ending and a wheel stopped ending.
I think I've got my Spotify set to do a 3-second overlap.
Right.
So I would have missed that. Sorry.
I don't know if it's Dirty Magic, but
Might be Dirty Magic.
Yeah,
Okay, cool. Yeah, there's
maybe.
definitely one of them where I was like, oh, it's a fade out, which is unusual for punk.
and then it just
And I was going to mention it, and then I was like, no, you just stopped anyway. Okay, sure, why not?
Because there's a fade out in We Are One as well. So maybe
Yeah.
they were
Oh,
just
yeah.
like fading out because it got to 4 minutes and you're like, you're not allowed to be over 4 minutes if you're in a punk band. Sorry. So
They're being played off for Pennywise are coming on or something.
yeah, exactly. They've literally got like
like
a
a-
4 minute song and a 2-minute 32 song and everything in between, but never over 4.
No.
to their credit, to their absolute credit.
Yeah.
I was going to say something else now. I forgot.
Yeah, I think they do I think they do a good job of coming through with their message on this one, but doing it to awesome instruments. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's quite funny how, speaking about all the themes now, it's absolutely brings back to 30 years ago. What's changed, like overall, mechanisms like media administration oversight may have changed, but it's
The systems
the
are
same.
all
The systems are the same. Mate. The systems are the same.
The same people are running it.
Yeah. Now, what I was going to say was it must have been quite something. Imagine touring like and singing these lyrics all the time. Like you would have been pretty much could have been on a downer yourself if you've taken yourself too seriously. And you're like working, hard to try and break
But
through.
then they get to play
feel
Burn It Up, and that's just a pipe tune.
Yeah.
It's like being an arsonist.
yeah.
And that's which we like. We've talked about this before. When an album has the callback to the album title, so that's when he shouts ignition.
Yeah.
Then it's all like, I'll dance around the pretty flames. It's such a wonderful game, and it's just like. So I'm assuming that he heard about an arsonist, saw an arsonist, or something happened, and he just thought he'd write about it.
Yeah.
But that's one that's not self-deprecating.
Yes, sure.
yeah.
But just back to what you were saying about their down themes.
The themes, yeah.
I think for this at least, being in the punk band would be the counter to that. It's like,
Yeah,
sure, I'm going to
correct.
sing about things that I hated about myself and about the world, but I'm going to go out on stage every night, and it's got to be fun because I'm going to be
thrash it.
throwing myself around. Noodle's going to jump around. I'm going to see the crowd is all going to jump around.
Yeah.
It's interesting for me, like the idea of like really sad music wise and sad song wise. Like, how do you must have some kind of structure set up so that you don't fall into a spiral that you end up negatively impacting your own mental health by doing it. But for up music, I assume part of it is like, well, it's a fun party that I get to have with my friends every night, and I'm singing about the things that are important to me.
Yeah.
that's
I know
true.
why. I mean, I think in a mosh pit, LAPD would just be mad, bro.
Yeah,
Like it'd be freaking.
I think
off the
all of
charts.
these
Yeah,
songs. So
sure.
2012 for the 20th anniversary, they were playing this album in full.
Well, how
That
good.
would be awesome.
That would be
like
awesome.
just imagine being like you from 1992, you were 15 and 16, and you get to like your mid 30s and you get to see this album played in full. It would have been
It
awesome.
would have been amazing.
That would be cool. Awesome. Love it.
Cool. Final pitch, Grant. I think unless you've got anything else.
Final
you want to
pitch.
add.
No, I'm happy to go final pitch, and I suppose it's short and sharp. The reasons behind choosing it is certainly themed for mine and had an influence. Is as a South African in having gone back, there was an adventure involved, and I think a lot of our journeys around is the hunt to find what's out there and what I haven't heard. I didn't find it by chance. There was significant intention in getting it. From the opening statement and then amazing drumming start of session right through to Forever and a Day. It's fast. It gets you going. It's challenging and some serious themes with some pause for thought. And now I suppose having discussed it even here, we've got to ask ourselves what could we be doing differently, or will it change, and are we do we have misplaced faith? I don't know, but it's a great album to, as you said, listen to in the background if you're going to go and skate or just go and do something. But if you want to listen to the lyrics, there actually is a lot of meaning and thought behind them as well, with book references, etc. as well, and LAPD and drug addictions and self-harm. So solid themes and great music. What else can I say, guys? All in 37 minutes from an album that's 30 years old.
Short and sharp. Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's go with Liam. Let's rip the Band-Aid Man, the man who hadn't heard the album. What are your thoughts?
I was primed not to like this album, right? This is like
I appreciate your honesty, bro.
Skate punk is something that I don't normally listen to in general. It's not something that attracts my interest very often. And Offspring have a reputation of being on the slightly dumber, shall we say, side of the skate punk. Like, it is cheesy and it's hooky and it's pretty fly for a white guy and serial prankster and all that other nonsense. So I was like, okay, but that's fine because it's nominated. So obviously I'm going to give it a fair go.
Appreciate that.
And even Michelle, my wife, was just like, oh okay. So I was like, that's, I'm going to go in. And the first couple of times I listened to it, I did have it as background. I was walking around or I was at work, I was doing things. I was like, okay, this is pretty much what I expected. There's not a lot going on here. And then I sat down to listen to it properly and like actually writing down the themes and looking up the lyrics as they happened, because I couldn't tell a lot of the things that he was saying just by listening to it. I had to actually look it up.
Yep.
And then I'm like, holy crap, there's like mental health song. Song about a bad relationship with a woman. There's a song about society pressures. There's a song about LAPD. There's a song about a friend who committed suicide. And it's just like these amazing themes that I don't think most Offspring non-followers would have any clue that they do. So I was just like, this is really, really good. I'm really, really enjoying this. And I had to go and tell Michelle after I stopped listening. I was like, this album's really good. Don't tell anyone, but it's actually really good.
Begrudgingly.
But we're doing a podcast.
Begrudgingly, yeah. I really liked a bunch of the songs that we talked about. The problem is the first 5 songs, and it happens elsewhere, is all the music is just as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And I kept hoping that they would do more, and they did do more in Dirty Magic and Hyperdemic and a few other songs. Yeah. But too much of the music for me was just so fast, and just like that was all it was. Like, it was just, look how fast we can go super, super fast. Yeah. I also didn't love the production. I was thinking about the other Offspring songs that I do like. Yeah. And the guitar is up way higher in the mix.
Okay.
And these ones, like the guitar, because it was so fast, I think if it was this fast and really high, you'd almost had a problem hearing anything else.
Yeah. Okay.
But because they dialed it back a bit, I kind of felt like it was a bit strangled and not showing off one of their best things, which is Noodle's amazing playing.
Yeah.
So I can remember some of the songs from the vocal hooks,
yes,
but I can't remember any of the guitar riffs, which is a problem for me because I think like it's, you want punk music to be super guitar. So I loved it way more than I thought I would. And I'm almost on the verge of like, do I have to revisit like 8 albums of Offspring's? Like,
No,
okay, that's good because I've got a lot of other stuff to do.
Yeah.
But I loved it way more than I thought I would, but I couldn't call it flawless.
Thank you for your feedback, bro. We'll take it on board. Cool. That's good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And
it was really good, and especially like that idea of like, oh my god, these guys have been singing about really important issues for 30 years. Maybe I do go back and listen to the self-titled one, and like
I need to do that. Sure.
I like Ixnay, and I haven't Ixnay and Americana except for the couple of singles on Americana. But do I have to go back and listen to all of them again? Like even the songs that I don't remember that much. It's like, yeah, there's some real nuggets of gold in there, I'm sure. Great.
Thank you. Appreciate it, George.
Hello. So, Offspring are definitely one of the bands that have been in my back catalogue of my life. Going into, they were an easy gateway punk band. Like when you're 12 or whatever, and you're listening, and you're going, hey, I want to listen to something. And at the time as well, I wasn't listening to the lyrical content for some of them, just the hooks. And I was singing along with the hooks whenever I was going clubbing when I was underage. And that was awesome. And then, I remember loving Smash and Ixnay and half of Americana. But Ignition and The Offspring, the first 2 albums, were like part of that journey of listening to up to Americana, as I said earlier. This was really, as Liam said, getting into it and actually getting into the themes, getting into the lyrical content and going on the journey that Dexter Holland's taking us on was way more impressive than I was expecting. And I was kind of taken out because I knew he'd done stuff like The Kids Aren't Alright,
Yes.
like on Americana, and that was
Yeah.
a really powerful message. So that stuff meant a lot to him, and I knew stuff of that from like Smash in particular. So listening to it properly, unlike Liam, I'd heard the guitar a lot.
Okay.
I was like really there. I'm just with the guitar. And there's a lot of times where the guitar and bass play off each other really well.
Yeah.
And there's times where Dexter is playing with the bass and Dexter is playing with the guitar. And it's really interesting how they play off each other. And I really love listening to what Noodles is doing. So for me, that was really cool. So playing it, I also went back and listened to the back catalogue as much as I could because I kept going, I want to listen to Self-Esteem. So I've been listening to that as well. I just, again, today was my final moment of going, I'm going to do my final notes for this session, and I fucking love this album.
Yes.
It's really good. I think it's a really good album. I think they hammer a shit ton into a short time. Excellent messages, excellent music, power punk, awesome fun, danceable, ignorable or deep diveable, perfect. So I think that The Offspring Ignition is a flawless album.
Thank you,
Cool.
George. Excellent.
And I'm glad I went before her because otherwise there'd have been like way more pressure on her.
No, look, it's all good, and I'm actually really chuffed that you enjoyed it and got a lot more value out of it than you initially thought.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
That's great.
Thank you for nominating it.
Thanks everyone for listening. That was Offspring Ignition. 2 out of 3 ain't bad, but it's not flawless. So we have a Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We are Flawless AMP on all of those, so you can join the conversation, share or like our posts, or give us a rating. Every little bit helps us find more music lovers like you. As mentioned, we also have the Patreon at patreon.com/flawlessamp. And if you'd like to back us, please check that out. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.